Patrick Vieira has always been considered one of the best midfielders in the game, especially because of his incredibly powerful interceptions. Today, we will find out what exactly makes them so special. Here comes Pepe. Welcome everybody, it's time to have a close look at Patrick Vieira and especially at his player ID. Let's begin by comparing him to other popular cards and see how he differs from them. We start with base Kanté. In terms of speed and acceleration, Vieira and Kanté are almost equal. About the defensive stats, apart from tackling, Kanté has equal or higher stats than Vieira. This shows us that these stats, while most likely influencing the quantity and quality of interceptions, do not explain why Vieira has these insanely powerful interceptions that literally let him intercept balls from several solar systems away, while Kanté does not. Don't get me wrong, Kanté is an amazing player, but Vieira's interceptions are on another level. So the four relevant things that are different between these two are playstyle, hate, physical contact, and balance. To rule out physical contact as the responsible factor for Vieira's super interceptions, we're moving on to the second last comparison versus Costacurta. While Costacurta is significantly taller than Kanté, he still, despite being a top tier defender, does not have the massive interceptions Vieira has. So we can make this quick, as Costacurta has almost equal physical contact, it is not what makes Vieira special. For our last comparison before we examine the player ID, I chose the reverse approach and selected a player who I think does have interceptions at least almost as good as Vieira, and that's Zakaria. Seeing how this card is a box-to-box player and his Super Saiyan form is an anchorman, we can safely assume that the playstyle does not play a role. In my opinion, playstyle decides what a player does and where he does it, but not how well he does it. Now what these two players have in common is the hate, they're both very tall, and the high aggression. It's hard to determine how much aggression really adds to interceptions because the game leaves us in the dark about it. In my opinion, aggression makes tackles harder, increasing both the chance of getting the ball but also the chance of making a foul. Whether aggression also affects interceptions in any way, I can't tell. If I had to guess, I would say no, but there are so many things the game doesn't tell us, so anyway, let's get to the player ID. Just a disclaimer, the following is not my work. I don't want to take any credit for it at all, I'm only explaining what I got to know through other people. Like 2 weeks ago, I came across this comment on the eFootball subreddit and I asked a friendly fellow whether it's okay for him if I included it, and he agreed. Thanks again to him, because if it wasn't for his comment, I might not have come across this. It is about leg length relative to the body height. The link to it is in the description, by the way, if you want to have a look yourself. The comment links to a Google spreadsheet containing a player database by an amazing Chinese eFootball creator called Amadeuz. So all credits to him, it's his spreadsheet, his findings, I'm only interpreting from it and comparing his spreadsheet to my personal experience. Unfortunately, Amadeus is uploading on Chinese platforms, so we can't enjoy his amazing content here on YouTube. I would have loved to link to him or give him a shout out because he really deserves it. So I reduced his spreadsheet to the stats most relevant for this video. On top of that, I also reduced it to a few meta players, some of which are known to be very good interceptors and some not so much. Before I talk about individual players, let's look at the leg length column. When I saw that the maximum value was 14, I was like, oh, how did I not realize this earlier? Because I think this is nothing new. I'm sure many of you will actually remember it now. I started my PES game, you can guess in the comments which one, and here we are. In the original spreadsheet it stored from 0 to 14, but in this game it shows as -7 to +7. How could I not have remembered this? Now look how much of a difference it actually makes whether a player has -7 or +7 leg length. To keep it simple, I'll stick with the table's values, meaning 0 to 14, but it's essentially the same thing. This means that players with leg length 0 have their legs at the minimum possible relative length, whereas those with leg length 14 have them at the maximum. 7 would be average. And obviously, of course, longer legs can reach further away. Now about the other values, leg equivalent height means what height this player would have if his legs would be the same length they are, but the leg length value would be 7, the average one, instead of whatever else he has. If you don't understand any of this or my explanations aren't precise enough, feel free to ask in the comments comments and I'll make sure to help you out. Height is obviously how tall the player is. And the last value, leg coverage diameter, is most likely related to how far the player can reach and therefore intercept. How exactly the game processes this? I'll be honest with you, I have absolutely no idea. If you want to see how Amadeus calculated this, you can check it out in the original spreadsheet. Let's look at individual players now. Patrick Vieira has a leg length of full 14, the maximum. This is not surprising. Zakaria, also a phenomenal interceptor, has 12. Van Buiten has 11, but is still the top interceptor because his total body height makes up for it. Rüdiger and Wan-Bissaka, who also intercept crazily, have 14. On the other hand, Tomiyasu, Costacurta and Beckenbauer, all excellent defenders, but neither of them known for massive far outer space interceptions like Vieira, they all only have 6 leg length, meaning 1 below average. While Kanté does have a good leg length, namely 11, his coverage is obviously still worse than everyone else due to his low body height. Leg length might be the key as to why Vieira has been the king of the defensive midfield for so long. This is the hidden stat that is nowhere to be found in the actual game, but apparently makes an insane difference. Yeah, that's it. I hope this video helped you. I'd love if you subscribed, liked or commented. Until then guys, take it easy. Shaka!